after 6th edition in Paris, you're going to Brussels with your book art fair, and that's interesting for me because first of all, why you came to Brussels and why not to Cologne or to Stockholm?
That's very simple. We do this fair in Brussels, the Brussels As Book Fair, which first edition is tomorrow, starts tomorrow at K1, which is the temporary space of Kanal, new museum of modern and contemporary art, which will open in a little bit more than 1 year. And we do it because like a good 1 year ago, someone from Kanal, Dave Rim, who's a curator at Kanal, she contacted us, inviting us to do a fair in Brussels. So we had this opportunity, we talked with them, super nice people. So we're like, okay.
Supportive of the project, so yes, we were just invited to bring it here. So that's how it happened. We were not invited in Madrid or Milan yet. So,
yeah, but that might come.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, so basically you are working with, that's important to mention in the very beginning, that you work with independent art creators and publishers. And I just want to know exactly, where is the kind of limitation? Is there any limit from, big institutions or smaller institutions or independent spaces or artists?
In terms of exhibitors?
Yes.
In the statement presenting the Paris As Book Fair and the Brussels As Book Fair, we say like we tend to select publishers, zinsters, artists who do books who you can't find in the mainstream distribution circuits. And I guess like the line is here. People go to art book fairs to discover publications, artist editions and stuff they wouldn't find in Walter Koenig bookshop. And I don't mean that the Walter Koenig bookshop, which are like in basically every big museum in Europe now, they make an amazing job. But what you want to find in a book fair is something you can't find in your regular bookshop. So the line, but it's not a very precise line, but we draw it at this place. So we tend to bring together people who are independent in a mindset of bringing together people who can be very, very different and having everyone on the same level, which is like, that can be like a very young artist in their early 20s who start doing zines as a way to just develop their work, and who can still be a student. And let's say at the other end of the spectrum, like a couple of times, like for example, like the Swiss art book publisher Patrick Frey participated, who is a pretty big art book publisher, but is an independent publisher who makes like amazing books. Or for example, another Swiss institution who participated, like the Centre d'édition contemporaine in Geneva, which is another very important place for artist books and artist edition. They participated, and I think I like to have like those kind of two opposite coming together, which is a way to maybe highlight the fact that it's more or less the same thing. Be it something like a publication which is made with a 100 euros budget, or a publication which is made with like 20,000 euros budget.
In terms of the visitors, what do you expect? Because sometimes, of course, we are all a bit, let's say, it's when you see the 15th publication from Sophie Cole, yeah, it's nice, but we already seen her job many times, and of course want to see new faces. But I also know that people are kind of a bit snobbish in the way that they only want something which is already famous a little. So can you maybe a little bit equalize the publishers in this way?
I think it's a big mix of publishers. Some people come for someone they already know, but then usually, like at least in Paris, till now the atmosphere in the fair was so friendly and cheerful that people stay for a while and explore and find new things. And it's a very different public. Like we have a lot of obviously queer people coming, and then a lot of artists, but then some families with kids who come to spend their Saturday or Sunday in the book fair. So it's very, very different kind of people.
You know, sometimes I have a feeling that that artists doing shows for artists in this way, artists doing publications also for artists. Sometimes we have seen many exhibitions and many publications for that.
What is specific with the As Book Fair, be it in Paris or in Brussels, is that we don't work with only one community of artists and one community or artist book lovers, and we mix. And I think that's very important because we have people who do artist books for artists, like very specific, who tend to appreciate this kind of work. But we also have like the queer zine section, which tend to be like young people addressing a queer audience. But we also have, for example, I think about someone who's great, who participates in the fair in Paris, has been doing it for 3 years and will be in Brussels from tomorrow. Is a guy in his probably 70s who runs a publishing house called Gay Kitsch Camp. And they started like a good 20 years ago. They republish very old homosexual texts and literature, sometimes dating back to the 18th century, a lot from the late 19th century. And that's very interesting because this guy, Patrick, last year told me, you know, when I go to a regular queer or gay book fair, I meet less people than when I go to your book fair, which is queer but also artist for artists, and also, I mean, like a lot of people working in the underground scene, or, you know, and I think what we do, bringing together those different kind of publishers and artists doing books and artist editions, we bring together different communities, we bring together people who, you know, can discover something new, which they were not looking for.
What do you think about the popularity of the different mediums? Because some years ago I have seen many artist books which contains only photos, because that was the time when everyone wanted to publish photos. And earlier there was another with the text reflecting on the photos, things. So there are trends, of course.
Yeah.
And then you have again you have from zines, which is a very simple thing. You have also kind of published in a real printing house, collectible and signed and numbered books. So in terms of medium, what do you see? What are the absolute fresh trends?
I think what I noticed is like taking kind of zine codes, the handmade production, and bringing it into a bigger, more sleek published books. So making your serious book look more or less serious.
Collection of images. You know, for example, there's something I'm very interested in, is the normativity, like zine as a medium, as a tradition, and a normativity. And as I started, you know, before everything, I started as a zine publisher. And as a zine publisher, I always refused to adopt the codes of the punk zine. You know, like the torn paper, photocopy, staples. I was like, I don't want this shit. I want to make zines which are like Xerox productions, which look like a serious book. Because I was like, okay, you don't need to adopt the visual code of underground or being independent to create a publication which is independent in terms of content and in terms of the way it's produced. But still, like on a deeper level, I think the fanzine scene has its normativity and its tradition. And for example, one of those traditions is like compiling images and, you know, bringing them together in a reflexive way. So, and I think this is still very important. You know, we encounter like many zine or independent publishers everywhere, every year, and a lot of people do it. And like, and I think, and there's a dialogue around like those compilation of images, and that's something which is very old now. I have the feeling like Riso is still a big thing, even if it was rediscovered like a while ago. I remember seeing, the first time I saw a Riso publication was probably 2007 or something like that. And it was coming from London, like this architecture school where they just bought a machine and started doing stuff with the Riso machine. And that's still so big. I think like still a lot of people are very excited with it.
Maybe that's because a lot of university has a machine now, just to you know, have a little practice for the students. And then when you experience as a student a Riso technique, later you go back like a nice memory that, the Riso was this.
It has like a physical quality.
How the collaboration with Pompidou, Centre Pompidou started. I guess it started in Paris, and now you work then with here with Kanal Centre Pompidou.
We have a collaboration with the Library of St. Pompidou called Kandinsky Library in Paris. But with the center itself, we never had a collaboration. It just comes through Kanal. We work with Kanal in Brussels, which in its turn has a collaboration with St. Pompidou. Mm-hmm. In Paris, we work with Palais de Tokyo, which is a different art center.
Yeah, maybe Palais de Tokyo is even better because it's more on the let's say more contemporary.
The point is, Palais de Tokyo, they are like super nice and super welcoming and very supportive of the fair, and also because of the history of the institution, which started in the early 2000s as a like temporary art center in a rundown building run by a very small team. They still have this tradition of being pretty dynamic. So I guess maybe that's why we have a good relationship. And also I worked for them for like 10 years, so I know people there. Of course here it's a bit different because it's a museum, so it's a bigger institution. But also, like, honestly, the team is great. So, you know, I think it will work differently. But it's like a very good partnership.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.